name's Karen. Guess what? I saw people out there, they were socializing. I saw some guy walking his dog past 9 p.m. What the fuck? I'm calling the cops. Hi, my name's Karen. Hi.
Hello, my name is Kevin. Meet my honey wife Karen. She'll be the one on the Facebook just sharing every time you come out of your house without a mouse. Hey, she's a motherfucker. Don't go down south on my dick cause I'm gay. Hey, my name is Kevin. And Karen's my fucking homie. All on the Twitter on the universe. Yeah, I take from her purse. She don't give me money cause she's Karen. And I'm from Kevin. We ain't sharing our civil liberties. We're just hanging around, being commies just every day. Just trying to fuck with Turtle Boy every day. Just trying to fuck with all our joy every day. Get the fuck out my penis dick before I hit you in the mouth, bitch.
Hi, my name's Karen. I don't care about the First Amendment because I'm trying to keep people safe. Let's talk about the community. How are you going to keep people safe? Put your mask on.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, Turtle Riders? How are y'all doing out there tonight? Let me get this up there. All right. What's up, guys? Let me check out the crowd, see how people are strolling in here. And okay, so all right, guys, I've gone ahead and I've shared this link to the Clarence Woods Emerson page and the Turtle Boy Sports Forever page and the Uncle Turtle Boy page. I started one of those pages too, so like that, like them all, share it up. Let's get some people in here. Let's get the crowd going. I got a lot I want to talk about. I'm fucking pissed. I don't know about you guys. I am pissed off about everything that is going on in this country right now. They're freaking disgrace. I feel like we're a minority. The people that actually want to like that are watching this nonsense transpire on TV. And if you're not if you don't think it's wonderful, you're a fucking asshole. Like that's the world we're living in right now. So I'm pissed off about it. I got a lot to take. Anybody that wants to call in can call in. Blippy Marie is going to share the link for me. Just a reminder, by the way, guys, just a reminder. So by the way, so share this stuff on Facebook. That's good. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. How many likes we got so far? 22, piss poor. Let's get that up. Smash that like button. Let's get up to 100. Only 75 to 84. Let's get this crowd up. Let's go. Got a lot to talk about here. Yeah. So do that for me. And I'm also reminding you guys that we are blacklisted by Google AdSense and not by what you call it, Google, whatever. YouTube has demonetized us. So it's actually a blessing in disguise. I don't want it back. Because it's much easier to just share the fundraiser link for the PayPal. So if you guys, if you want to donate during it, let me go ahead and I'm going to put the link in there right now. The fundraiser. If you write something funny or anything at all on the, if you donate and you write something for a little note or something, I'm going to read it. No matter how raunchy or dirty or nasty it is, I'm going to read it. So let me start with the good news first. You guys ready for this? You ready for the good news? Are we ready? Let's see what happens here. Let me pull this up real quick. What do you think the good news is I'm about to tell you? Take a wild guess. Where'd the numbers go? Let's see. And there it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a blog. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. You guys can see it. People are saying Noble lost. Noble. How the hell did you guys know that? Yeah, you guys already got it. You guys got it already. You heard the good news. Okay. Let me go ahead and shit. I'm gonna go ahead and put this where you guys can see it. So you guys can see, and it wasn't very close either. Let me blow this up. So as you guys can see, there's the numbers right there. I don't know if you guys can see those numbers, but it's not very close. I don't know who these two other schmoes were. Chris Nobile, 1,800 votes. Laura Bates, 1,996 votes. Allison Koenig, 478 votes. Luke Noble, 968 votes. How the hell do almost 1,000 people vote for a scumbag like that? Well, pretty simple, guys. They covered it up. And I'm fucking pissed. And I'm going to call it names, right? I'm extremely disappointed in Tom Duggan, right? I like Tom. Tom runs the Valley Patriot. I like Tom. It's a conservative media outlet. It's like a right-wing newspaper. Not right. I mean, it covers the news, but he's obviously conservative. And it's based out of North Andover. That whole area covers North Andover, Lawrence. Didn't say a word about it. And, you know, he posted about a week and a half ago saying, well, I'm going to ask him a question. I was going to ask him a question. It's like, you're the media. How do you not cover this? Shame on you, Tom. Seriously. Shame on you. You obviously never asked him a question about it. The guy was credibly accused by his own 5-year-old daughter of sexual abuse. The doctor said so. The therapist said so. We saw the video, all this shit. The Eagle Tribune got in contact with the family, chose not to write about it because they're trash, because they're a fake news newspaper. So we had to do this ourselves, right? We're the only ones that spoke up on behalf of these children, essentially, and this monster that has done these things to them, allegedly. Nobody else wanted to cover it. So we did. And he would have won had we not been just nonstop about this. And Luke Noble, if you're listening right now, you should have just fucking dropped out. The problem with you, Luke, is that you're too much of an egomaniac to just walk away. You don't have it in you. You wanted to poke the turtle. You tried bringing your page back 2 days after we exposed you. Big no-no. You tried bringing it back a couple weeks later. Big no-no. Each and every time you did that, we called you out for it, right? And we just sent people there because we're not going to put up with that shit, Luke. You should drop out. Don't poke the turtle. That's what they say. Charlie Baker couldn't save you. Nobody could save you. You lucked out. You had coronavirus there that literally acted as a smokescreen, but it wasn't enough. You lost. Good guys win. But I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how good these good guys are. Let me bring this up. Let me show you guys this. Yeah, with that 113. Let's get the likes in here, people. Let's go. We need to start. Let's see. How do I share my screen? Let's see. Stop screen. Okay, I'm going to go to a different one. Share screen, and I'm going to go with this one. Okay. The Clarence one. Does that work? Okay. So, yeah, check this out. This is what these people posted. It was like Orwellian. Yesterday, I didn't even know about this. These two people that just won, Laura Bates for selectman of North Andover and Chris Nobile, word for word, pretty much the same thing. I mean, they're obviously coached to write this. I don't know who coached them to write this. At 5:46 and 5:56, it's come to my attention an ugly depiction of a specific candidate has been recently circulated by an anonymous source. First of all, I'm not anonymous. My name's Eden Carney. I run Turtle Boy Sports and TVDailyNews.com. It's well known. I don't condone the behavior highlighted. At least she said that. And I also don't condone the political tactics used in this messaging. Huh? So you don't condone child abuse. That's good. That's good. Very noble of you. At least she said that. The other guy just said, this is wrong and it's dangerous. It's depicted in a vicious and ugly manner. So they're hardly better. But, you know, at least they've never been accused of sexually abusing children. So it is what it is. We killed his political career. He's done. He can never do anything again. And if he does, I'm going to write about him again. So, Luke, just do your job, man. Just go live your fucking life. You got away with what you got away with. You did it because you have money and influence. And, you know, you're a morally bankrupt piece of shit. And, you know, you got away with it. But you're never going to be a selectman. You're never going to get elected to anything. You couldn't get elected even with Charlie Baker's, when his popularity and his polls, they couldn't help you out. Couldn't do it. So just walk away next time. That's my advice for you, Luke Noble. Anyway, let's talk about some things here. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is Black Lives Matter. And so Black Lives Matter has been around for like, what? How many years now? I mean, since Michael Brown. Let me pull this up here. You know, Black Lives Matter has been around for years and years and years. They've been the Michael Brown and Ferguson things are the ones that really put them on the map. Trayvon Martin before that. And they rallied around the wrong guy with Michael Brown because he was he got what was coming to him. He tried to take a gun from a cop and got shot. Don't do that. Not a smart move. Not a high percentage move. But they rallied their whole campaign around him, around a lie that he had his hands up, which as it turned out, he didn't. So as time went on, there are legitimate instances of police brutality that come up. Some of them are more legitimate than others. Like the Freddie Gray one, those 6 cops that gave him a rough ride in Baltimore, they were overcharged. They might have done something wrong, but the DA literally said, I heard your cries for no justice, no peace, and I've charged them with like murder. You're not going to convict them of murder. They didn't murder anyone. They gave him a rough ride. So yeah, that didn't go anywhere. And it kind of died out. Like there was that thing in 2016, if you guys remember, there's like 2 instances that summer, or was it 2017? I forget. No, it was 2016. It was when that guy, Alton Sterling, I think his name was, in Baton Rouge, that was like wrestling with cops for some reason and got shot. Or maybe it was just one incident. Whatever. It was him and I think Philando Castile around that time. But people started going wild that summer. 5 cops got shot in Dallas. 3 cops got killed in Baton Rouge. It wasn't pretty. And ever since then, I feel like Black Lives Matter has kind of become an afterthought a little bit. Like we don't really hear from them much anymore. You know why we don't hear from them, guys? The fact of the matter is because it's not a big problem. I mean, that's the thing that all these people will deny, just like with coronavirus, is they won't look at the facts. They won't look at the data. And because if they did, they would realize that there is no epidemic of black men being killed by cops in this country. There just isn't. In 2019, 41 unarmed people in this country were killed by police. 41. Out of a population of 330 million people, 41 were killed. That's not a problem. That's not something, it's 41 too many, technically. But in the grand scheme of things, it is statistically insignificant and certainly not something to like have a freaking whatever, like the shit we're dealing with now. Like we cured coronavirus. This is the death of one guy literally cured coronavirus. So we all saw that video. Now that video that's the worst video I've ever seen of police brutality. The worst one. I think we can all agree with that. We've seen other videos, like the Philando Castile video was like kind of like quick. It happened. It wasn't good. There was the what is the other one? Eric Garner. But Eric Garner died a couple days later. Like he didn't, like this guy, we saw the life come out of this fucking guy. We saw the life come out of it. And by the way, I did not know this. You guys know he did porn? Not that I'm not trying to like besmirch the guy, but I went down a rabbit hole with that today. Somebody sent me a link. He does porn. He's on freaking X Hamster. Go look. I forget his porn name. It's fucking something classic, but not anymore because this cop killed him. So that wasn't good. And we all saw that video. But guess what? The fucking cop got arrested. So what else do you want? You want the other 3 arrested? I don't know what you'd charge the other 3 with because I'm not a district attorney. What are you going to charge him with? What do you charge the Asian guy with? He stood there and did nothing, right? He didn't actively put it down. Like the other 2 were restraining his body. Like if that's what they're trained to do, and this one cop on his neck did the one thing that you're not supposed to do, then how do you charge the other 2? You know what I mean? You can't just charge everybody. If they didn't commit a crime, if you can't indict them, then, I mean, that's what they did with Darren Wilson. They tried to indict him on something they couldn't indict him on. And it doesn't go anywhere. You have to get something a grand jury will indict you on. So what are you going to do? Didn't go anywhere. So here's my thing with Black Lives Matter. It has turned into, it wasn't like this 5 years ago. Most people, I feel like back then, you guys remember when they blockaded I-93? Like Grimace and, oh God, those disgusting people. We laughed at them. We had a good laugh. It was like a bunch of white trust fund babies from Brookline doing whatever. Something has changed, man. Something has changed. And I think it's the newest killing because this new one looks bad. It looks really bad. And people in the media does not bring up the data. They don't bring up the fact that 9 of the 41 unarmed people who were killed by cops last year, just 9 were black. That is not an epidemic. 9 is not a big number. I'm sorry, for an entire year. It's not. And that you don't know those other 8, were they punching? I don't know. I haven't looked at the data with that. I have a hard time believing they were completely innocent and they just got killed for no reason, like this guy did. And, you know, it happens equally amongst races too. That's another thing people forget, right? That white people, more white people are killed by the cops every year. A disproportionate amount of black people are killed by the cops percentage wise over their overall population. However, an interesting stat with this one is that when you factor in violent crime, right? So if you take 10,000 people who were involved in violent crime, 10,000 black guys and 10,000 white guys, a grand total of 4 of those 10,000 white guys were killed by the police. 3 of the 10,000 black guys were. So you are more likely to be killed by the police if you are committing a violent crime if you're white. Just a little bit. In other words, there's no bias. I mean, that could change next year. Next year could be black people are 5 and, white people are 4. Statistically, the data is irrelevant. That's what any statistician would tell you. I'm a stat freak, right? It's the only class I got A's in college was stats. I love stats. And it doesn't deviate from the mean much. It's insignificant data. It just is. But yet the entire fucking world is stopping right now. And I'm convinced at this point that it is a cult. Let me just read a couple things here. So this is, I did not blog about this one because this one is a friend of mine. I mean, I guess, but that's just lost their fucking mind. Let me just read this quote to you, if you will. This is a real fucking quote. I'm just going to read this to you. May 31st, 2020. I cried sporadically all day. I woke up and told my family that I wanted to go to Boston to join the protests. My husband said, "No, you are not. Anyone who knows me knows that no one tells me what to do. My husband is not a controlling, toxic male partner." His usual response is, "I don't give a shit what you do." I cried and I said, "I have to be there. I don't know that you can talk me out of it." He reminded me that it's not just about me anymore. And I had to think about my family. He didn't want me in danger, whether from violence or disease. Oh yeah, because Corona still exists. I was on the Capitol steps in Boston, arm in arm, when gay marriage was being passed, toe to toe with Bible-thumping bigots. I went to Washington, D.C. 3 times, forming a human chain on the front line, marching against the wars in the Middle East. I was at countless meetings and protests in Massachusetts. This speaks deeply to my heart. The importance of protest and coming together against the evils of this country. But I can't go today, and it's the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I didn't go because I haven't seen my mother in 3 weeks. And when she comes home this week, I don't want to risk getting her sick. I can't go because I don't want my kids to get sick. If there was not a pandemic, no one on this earth could have stopped me from being there. I've never been so disappointed not to be part of a movement on the front lines. But that in no way means I will not take part in any way I can. I will speak, write, post, draw, stitch, sew, and fight. So from one sidelined revolutionary to all you brave people on the front lines, be safe, be smart, cover your face, hide your tattoos, bring water and milk, wear black, write your emergency contact info on your arm. There are undercover cops out there, so be careful. Black Lives Matter. Damn the man. There's no justice. Don't give them any peace. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Jesus. One guy died in Minnesota. One fucking guy, which by the way, nobody gives a shit about. Nobody gives a shit about him. Nobody. They're just looking for a reason to protest. They think that they've convinced in their mind this is happening fucking all the time. And I saw it on TV. Therefore, it must be an epidemic. So not only did it cure coronavirus, which is by far, I'd like to thank them for that. That's their biggest contribution, is curing coronavirus. Not only did they do that, but this was somehow justification to shut down all of our major cities, every single one, even the non-major cities. There's fucking protests going on. I just left TV in Brockton right now. Brockton, mid-sized city. God knows what's going to happen there. It's not going to be pretty, I'm sure. And we just stopped it all because this guy was killed by a rogue guy who was arrested and will go to jail for the rest of his life, probably, or a long time. His wife left him immediately. Like, what do you want? Anyway, I want to talk about this Shrewsbury blog because, like I said, I really want to emphasize that this is becoming a legitimate cult. Black Lives Matter. It has become this thing where white people feel this constant need to prove to each other that they're one of the good ones. Did you guys watch this video from Evergreen State?
Almost too preposterous.
This is one of, I highly recommend just, I binge watched this in one day. It's 3 episodes. They're like 30 minutes long. But Evergreen State is this radical leftist college in Washington. Okay. And 3 years ago, they had some of the worst protests you've ever seen. Like one professor, Brett Weinstein, who is a liberal, very well-known guy, he announced there was going to be a day in which white people did not go to school. And he wrote an email saying, I think that's discriminatory, not cool. The faculty finds out about it. And they get all mad about it. They're like, check your privilege, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I'm like a liberal. I fought for social justice causes my whole life. You're going to just tell me I have to shut up? Like, no, I won't do that. And they demanded he be fired and all this stuff. And he didn't. They didn't fire him. And so huge protests started. But part one of this is like the precursor to that. And it just shows you, like, we should have seen this coming. Just watch did you guys watch the canoe thing? Watch this.
And what that means is that some of y'all sitting in these seats, and some of y'all sitting in these seats have had experiences, but ain't been right. The cost is too high. And the implications are too much. And at some point in time, if this campus is going to stand up for what it espouses to be.
So watch this. So they get in this.
It's no longer acceptable that our mission and vision only applies to a few.
So to get on, you have to prove.
So as we think about this plan, we should be thinking about how are we unscrewing the screws, and it will take many hands to do this, to unscrew the structure of institutional racism.
Notice how they're saying the same buzzwords: institutional racism, systemic racism, white privilege. These are just the same words. They mean absolutely nothing. They have no meaning whatsoever. They have no cure. There's no way to fix any of this. And by the way, what do you guys think of the cops doing the kneel thing? Have you guys noticed this? Cops all over the country. And I'm so sick of, you know how I feel. I'm sick of seeing this shit. I want to see cops bust people up. I have no desire for the cops to get along with these lawless rioters and looters and take a knee for them and all this bullshit to like prove that they're one of the good ones. And, you know, it's all PR bullshit. And I'm starting to see the police give into this. And that worries me. Because the police should be like, no, we are here. We're not here to fucking kiss Antifa's ass or any of these radical douchebags' asses. Whatever. So my thoughts on the kneeling. At first, when I see it, I'm like, you know, I'm gross. It's like fucking ridiculous. However, I will say this. I think it's smart. Because these people, these protesters, whatever you want to call them, what is their goal here? What are they hoping to accomplish? What do they want to get out of this? They want what legislation ultimately do you want passed? Have they thought about that? Have they put together a platform on paper saying we're going to keep protesting until we get this? Because that's what Martin Luther King did. Martin Luther King said we are going to keep protesting. The March on Washington in 1963 was to promote the civil rights bill that ended up getting passed in 1964 and urge President Kennedy to move it forward through Congress. That was the whole purpose of the I Have a Dream speech. It had a goal. Black Lives Matter has no goal. They just want to complain. So, how do you distract them if you're the police? You just take a fucking knee. And it's kind of, if that's their plan, more power to him, because that's fucking brilliant. Because that's like literally saying these people are so stupid and so simple-minded that all I have to do is get down and take a knee and like put my arm and maybe hug one on camera, maybe do that, maybe march with them a little bit, saying we're not your enemies, do something like that. You're seeing a lot of that bullshit on TV. And I hope that's just for the cameras. And I think it is. I think this is all planned and good for them, because it's kind of freaking genius, because they know that the people they're dealing with are not intelligent people. Most of these people are like under the age of like 25, because let's be honest, I can't go out and protest. I got 2 kids. A lot of people do. They got kids and family and all this shit. So they can't go out and do it. So it's going to be people who literally have nothing else to do. That is who is the protesting crowd. People who have nothing else to do. And they don't have jobs. Obviously coronavirus has killed that, but they don't know anything about reality. So they have time to worry about shit like this. If your biggest worry in your life right now is some guy in fucking Minnesota, then your life is fucking easy, my friend. Your life is easy. There are people out there that are struggling to get by right now, right? That are they don't know where their next paycheck's coming from, all this shit. They don't have time to worry about that. That's a luxury. That's how you know you are privileged, that you are able to have George Floyd be your biggest concern. So back to the brainwashing. So what they do is they fill your head up with these stupid buzzwords. And as white people, right? And you get this woman up there. So she's an angry African-American woman. Who's going to speak out against her? Who would ever challenge her in an environment like this? Nobody. And so they just like, you are, and she's making it clear just in her tone and her demeanor. People like Didi Delgado do this too. That if you dare challenge me, I am going to label you as a racist. And there is no worse punishment a person can have in this day and age than being labeled as a racist. If Luke Noble had got caught in blackface, he would have dropped out of the election. He can survive being accused of sexual abuse of a 5-year-old child. You can survive that. You can't survive being labeled as a racist, though. There is no coming back from it. It's unforgivable. Last week, we talked about what happened to that chick in Central Park. She was fired shortly after the show. There's no coming back from that. Like, you are forever that person. Always. So this woman is getting them all fired up. And look at the people in the back. Like, they're just scared and passive. And you got 2 options at this point. Right? Well, 3 options. 3 options. Option A is just go along with it, keep your mouth shut, and don't say your opinion out loud. Okay? Option B is say something. That's the worst. That's like the bad option. That means you're going to lose your job. Everybody's going to hate you. You're going to be called a bigot, etc. Option 3 is to turn on other white people, is to just establish yourself as one of the good ones and start parroting these people. And this is what we have become, a society. It's crazy how many people do this, of white people that just say shit and they don't know what any of it means. All out of fear of being labeled as a racist. Let's watch this.
We have a beginning to do this. And our hope is that we're inviting you to come along. We're going to do it. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted, see?
But we would like for you to join us on this road, on this journey.
These are adults.
So we invite you. We want more conversation, and we know there's much more work to be done. We invite that conversation. But if you want to be an obstructionist, work on your own.
Means like, if you don't want to be fully into the social justice bullshit, get a new job.
So the charge for them was to do something relatively small from the president. And
so now watch this.
We printed it out, and I have my hand scrawled like every single page. Like, what are they doing? Oh my God.
So we're going to do something for you today.
The canoe.
That we did as a group in August. And we're going to ask for key stakeholders that are on this campus to get on board our journey to equity.
Our journey to equity. Okay.
So what I'm going to do first is ask, this is the council. Our council is large, expansive. and we're gonna get on a canoe.
Okay.
And we're gonna get on a canoe that's gonna sometimes have fierce waves.
Line on which waves are breaking heavily, auditorily, conceptually, mathematically. Really, the canoe was not populations that really have an extreme.
The senior administrators, you have to ask for
All right, watch this.
permission
You have to ask for permission.
and commit some things before boarding the canoe.
Okay. You have to ask for permission
Step back out.
to board the canoe. So how are you going to get in the canoe? The social justice equity canoe.
So I would like to board the canoe because I'm committed to enhancing and furthering inclusion and equity in our campus community among both students and staff, faculty, and to do that with compassion and kindness.
What does that even mean?
Personally, I am committed to making Evergreen a more student-ready campus.
Equity.
And as provost, I am committing resources to help train our faculty,
Diversity.
become,
Equitable.
be able to promote equity and inclusion.
There we go. Equity and
In
inclusion.
the classroom and outside the
I
classroom.
mean, this is scary.
I carry with me the legacy of boarding schools, and I carry with me the legacy of adoption.
The legacy of
forced
adoption.
And I'm here because I refuse to continue to be assimilated. I refuse. And I refuse to let whiteness consume me.
Whiteness consume me.
And I'm going to say that word explicitly, whiteness.
Whiteness.
I refuse. I refuse for my mother.
Imagine you said that.
For her mother.
Imagine you said
for my
about blackness.
grandfather, for my ancestors, for my brothers and sisters, my relatives today. I refuse.
I'm here and
This
I
is-
commit.
this is the college president.
The position of privilege and power I occupy as the president of this college to invest in this council, its initiatives, and its plans.
I mean, it's fucking insane. It's absolutely insane. So I bring this up because in a more local level, this gentleman here, and one of the funniest stories I've ever read. This story today was great. All right. And you saw those people in there, but I'm talking what I'm focusing on here, right? Isn't just making fun of these people, because obviously that's hilarious. See what they're doing. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absurd. And we can mock white guilt. I'm more interested in the psychology of it, right? How do you get human beings, college educated, a lot of those people probably have PhDs. How do you get them to go along with this? Like, to just that the second guy there didn't know what to say. He's just like, equity, inclusion, and I'm committed. They were so uncomfortable. They didn't know what to say, but they didn't want to say the wrong thing. Right. And they know that they're listening to every single word that they make, every single letter that comes out of their mouth. They're judging you. Okay. And nothing you say is going to be good enough ever. Just throwing that out there. So this gentleman, John Cusalito, writes in the Shrewsbury Mass Forum, the entire community will weep for a lost pet, a missed graduation, or a change to their town garbage bags, but will spend their entire day talking down and threatening those protesting nationwide police brutality. Shrewsbury is an embarrassment. Okay. You look at his page, that is not him, right? But he is clearly making it seem like he is black. And the thing about Shrewsbury is that only 3% of the town's black. 18 or 19% of the town is Indian, though. And there's nobody less oppressed in this country, ask Gupta Patel, than Indian Americans. They won't stand for it. Their culture is like, you can't oppress me, because they have a great culture of, like, you know, holding their children responsible. Right? There's a reason that they tend to do better in school than white people. They get a better culture than us. Let's be honest. So in this town of Shrewsbury, a lot of the Indian people are doctors and stuff like that, and they work in Worcester, but they live in Shrewsbury. It's more expensive, right? Now, why do people move to Shrewsbury? It's not necessarily to get away from black people, but it's to get away from the bullshit, right? That comes white people, and Latino, you name it. We got shitty people of all shapes and sizes in Worcester. I moved to Holden because I didn't want to send my kids to the Worcester Public Schools. I went to the Worcester Public Schools. I wanted better for my kids, right? I didn't want them to have the same childhood that I did growing up in Worcester. I wanted something a little bit better for them. And, you know, Holden is a cheaper version of Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury is like the one you want to move to if you grew up in Worcester. That's nice. You're moving to Shrewsbury. Ooh, doing something right. You did something right in life. You're moving to Shrewsbury. So there's very little problems there. And very few African-American people. And so what you have then is this group of people, and it's a liberal town, who just feels consumed with white guilt and they don't know what to say. And so they're just going to say awkward things in order to try to, like, you know, please each other. It's like that guy was on stage. You saw he was on stage and everybody was watching him and he wanted to say the right thing. And that's what it's like in these Facebook groups. When this guy comes on and writes this, what can you say in this situation? If you respond to this and you say, you know, maybe this is a little bit overrated. Maybe it's really not an epidemic. You will get destroyed, judged. People will never look at you the same again. You have two options then. Stay silent or just go full out. But however, I have, like, that message I read to you guys at the beginning of this podcast, right? A bunch of my friends sent that to me. They're like, dude, you got to hear this. Right? But nobody's going to comment on it or share it because they're like, but that's what we're saying behind your back. I want social justice warriors to know that when you write ridiculous things on Facebook like this, you might feel good and nobody is going to challenge you and all this stuff. But just understand, all your friends and family behind your back are screenshotting that and they're having group text messages and they're making fun of you. That's what they're doing. You look ridiculous. You look like those people in those videos. You look emasculated. You look like you're just reading North Korean propaganda because you're like a confession to committing a crime and for stealing a ham sandwich in North Korea. That's what you look like. You look like a cult. That is ultimately what Black Lives Matter 5 years ago was not a cult. It was a fringe organization that didn't go anywhere, right? Full of morons and losers and stuff like that. It has transformed. It's much more influential now. You see it everywhere. Banks, the Red Sox released a statement today. You have to release something. You have to come out and say it. It's not just LeBron doing it anymore. Jonathan Taze from the Chicago Blackhawks issued this whole release about his white privilege. Like every NBA player, they have to do it, especially the white ones. They have to. Hockey players are doing it. You have to now. You didn't have to do it 5 years ago. You have to now. If you don't, then you become Aubrey Huff, right? Something like that. You just go completely off the deep end, or you become Kurt Schilling and you become ostracized. So anyway, as it turns out, John is actually white. So you got all these people. He's a friggin' delivery driver for Papagenos. And these Indian women start chiming in. And Indian women are actually ahead of white women on the social hierarchy, in my opinion. And Andrea Castanetti, nice lady. And Andrea is a liberal woman too. She's not controversial, like whatsoever. She's a realtor. And I don't know what she said, but it certainly wasn't like confrontational. It's probably just like, I think we should all get along. You know, probably some harmless. That's just the way she talks. But these people, they live to pounce. And they're like all these chicks that were in this blog, they're all like 22 years old, 21 years old, college students. They don't know shit about shit. Like, look, you know, and they're all Indian. Not bad looking Indian chicks either, but just sheltered fucking chicks that have no idea what they're talking about. And so she writes, Andrea, please take a minute to uplift John's voice. Sorry, because he's white. He's that little white. He's this kid. This is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Okay. Well, I got to talk more about this on the live show, but as it is his black community that is being lynched. You're centering yourself in this right now. So while your heart may be in a good place, you aren't taking the time to listen to what he's saying. The Shrewsbury community isn't vocal enough, and doesn't do enough to advocate and protect the Black community. What Black community? What are you talking about? And why do they need you, an Indian chick, to advocate for them? Seeing that he is one who experiences that, not me or you, it isn't our place to insert our feelings. Like, that sounds like some fucking propaganda that you had to like literally read out loud. Like, that's insane. Insane. This is racist. Telling a Black man to leave because his community isn't adequately supporting him is racist. He's not even fucking Black. It's beautiful. He's not even Black. And here's the thing about it, right? Because somebody yesterday on Twitter asked me, like, say Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, no. He goes, do you believe Black Lives Matter? Answer the question, yes or no. And I'm like, of course I believe that Black Lives Matter. The funny thing about that statement, Black Lives Matter, is that nobody ever said they didn't. So what are you even saying? Like, what are you attempting? What wrong are you, like, what societal institution are you saying that, like, what is your point? It's like saying that, oh, child abuse is bad. Yeah, I think definitely agree. Black Lives Matter. For sure. For sure. And people say all lives matter to that because they're like, yeah, you count. We all count. Yeah, definitely, man. You're a person. You matter. Definitely. Definitely. But it's just become this thing where it's like this person's asking me, do you believe Black Lives Matter? As if I'm supposed to just stand up and, if you don't come out and be like, yes, I fucking believe that shit so much. They matter so much. And not only that, oh my God, I'm so sorry for being white. Oh, I wish you could take it all back. I'm so sorry about the oppression, and we need to do something about the institutions and the inclusion and the systemic racism and blah, 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 and my white privilege. Oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry. That's what they want from, it's like, you can't, it's fucking insane that when that question was posed to me yesterday on Twitter, I'm like, this is madness. Like, what the fuck do you think I'm going to say to that? Of course, Black Lives Matter. And the thing about it is that they never seem to matter to these people unless they're being killed by a white cop. That's the only time a Black life ever matters to them, right? And statistically, that is a small, tiny fraction of how Black people are murdered in this country. It is not by white cops. You're missing the biggest chunk of the pie, the elephant in the room, Black on Black crime. When you bring that up, you're a racist though, but it's a fact. Nobody gives a shit about them, right? If you are Black and you get murdered, you better be murdered by a white cop. That is your best fucking bet. If you are murdered by if you're murdered by a Black guy, you're fucked. You're right. Your family's on their own. You're fucked. If you get murdered by a white cop, though, Lee Merritt, Benjamin Crump, the best attorneys in the country are going to come down. They're going to represent your family for free. You're going to get, your son is going to become, or your family member is going to become literally a martyr. Cities will shut down in their honor and all this stuff. So if you're going to be murdered, if you're Black in this country and you're going to be murdered, it is in your best interest to be murdered by a white cop and not another Black person, because nobody gives a shit if you're murdered by another Black person. Nobody cares. It's so common. Nobody gives a fuck. The reason that these stories become national stories is because they are uncommon. That's literally the whole point, right? They're uncommon. So, goes on to say, and yes, most of the rioters, as you've seen, are white in Boston. Other cities, not so much. But in Boston, I've seen, well, you know, we watched the news the other night, and you saw a lot of the looters. I mean, it's multiracial. It is multiracial. It does seem that the crowds themselves that loot particular buildings are not really diverse, right? Like, I've seen some buildings where all the looters go in and they're all white. And I've seen other buildings where they go in and they're all Black. I have noticed that the looting is not really integrated. It's somewhat segregated. Has anybody else noticed that? Like, whenever you see a group of 20 black people go in there, there's no white people in there looting with them. Whenever you see 20 white people go in, the Antifa assholes, I don't really see any black guys in there. Interesting phenomenon. Why haven't the minority cops been charged? Well, there's nothing to charge them with yet. So anyway, let me read Barb's here because I just want to read a couple of these just to like let you see what a fucking cult this has become. A white person would never be questioned about their right to protest. I mean, that's how do you know that? How do you know that unless you've been taught that? Unless you've been brainwashed with that? And why do you consider it okay to attack an ally of a POC? Just those words, ally, POC. These are indoctrinated words that they've taught you to use. Ally, POC. Not person of color, POC. Unless, of course, you actually recognize we're not living in the post-racial paradise the white majority likes to proclaim. It's like this woman is just, she read some shit on the Huffington Post. And now she's an expert. Telling a black man to leave because his community isn't supporting him is racist. It just plain is. That's it. Okay. White privilege doesn't mean you don't have problems. It just means the color of your skin isn't one of the things that adds to your difficulties. Okay, sir, I'll give you this. It could be a disadvantage to be black in some situations. However, it can be a disadvantage to be white in several situations too. I'm sorry. Like if you are trying to get onto it's just like anything else. Like if you're trying to apply for a job at a workplace that is, majority black and you're white, I feel like the odds are against you. And I can totally understand how the opposite might be true, like a majority white. However, I would argue that like there isn't a company in America that isn't looking to diversify. Diversity is cool. It is very cool. Everybody wants to diversify. So please educate yourselves. The public library has many books available for downloading until they can safely reopen. If I, a cisgender, heterosexual white boomer, can educate myself. So this woman is like fucking 60 years old and she's already learned all the buzz. Up until 2 years ago, she had no idea what the word cisgender meant or boomer, but she's been brainwashed to say these things because it's a cult. This guy, Sam, let's read this one. Tell me this isn't a cult. For the white people in this group, what we need to do is educate ourselves on the history of systematic and institutionalized racism and how it has started and worked into the very beginnings of the United States of America. Read as many articles as you can, watch as many documentaries as you can, educate yourself on the struggles and injustices in the country has put upon POC and specifically the black community for hundreds of years. We need to educate ourselves on our own white privilege, what it means, how it affects our daily lives, and how it is incorporated into every system and institution. What you can do to help and support the Black Lives Matter movement is to spread awareness and information via social media, have conversations with friends and family. It's like, this is insane. It's absolute madness. And I'll read more of these on Saturday during the live show, but absolute madness. Everything this guy just said is literally a script. If you were to create a cult, this is what it would look like. You're just training these white people to just repeat these ridiculous, meaningless things solely out of fear of being labeled as a racist. That is not progress. That is not how you make social progress in this country. You're not solving any problems by doing that. All you're doing is continuously making yourself the bad guy and creating a situation where you can never, ever dig yourself out of this hole. You're always going to be the bad guy because you'll always be white and you'll never be able to undo that history. There's literally nothing you can do except emasculate yourself for the rest of your life. Now, like I said, what are you going to do with some people like, there's always the radical fringe SJWs do stuff like this. But this has definitely, the fact that Barstool fucking Sports, which is supposed to be like the haven, and we'll talk about Barstool in one moment. Let me just refresh here. I don't want to miss anybody that's donated. Let's see. Activity. Eliza says, keep up the great work. Thank you, Eliza. I appreciate that. We'll do. Suzanne says, Bring back the turtle song. Just for that, I'm bringing it back, Suzanne. So thank you very much for your donations, ladies. Yeah, so let's talk about Barstool Sports. So Barstool Sports is supposed to be a haven for anti-political correctness. Dave Portnoy, I'm not going to lie, right? Dave Portnoy is probably one of my top 5 idols, right? People that I look to and admire and not necessarily want to be exactly like them, but I strive to be like them in many ways, right? I admire, like, who would be other people on that? Dave Portnoy, right? Tucker Carlson for me. I cannot get enough Tucker Carlson. I just watched him every fucking night. I just need Tucker Carlson to speak to me for 30 minutes in a row without taking a breath, because it's fucking porn to me. I'm addicted to Tucker Carlson, right? Dave Portnoy is great when he's on, right? Kirk Minahan, Jerry Callahan, and I don't know, you come up with the 5th, right? Those are the people that I look up to the most, because what Dave Portnoy did was he actually wanted to be a teacher, and he graduated from University of Michigan, but he knew that he was born to entertain. He was born to entertain. He was put on this earth to provide people with amusement, and he did. He literally started printing out magazines on his own, filled them up with advertisers, and would hand them out on the MBTA, just little sports blogs, like funny shit, like sports in a funny and entertaining way. Just every morning up there. That's fucking hustle, man. Every day. That's how he made money. Then he made an internet blog, and it started blowing up, and it got more and more popular. He's a little bit ahead of the game with that. And he's very funny and entertaining, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And then he was able to make more money, and he's able to bring on new bloggers, right? And people like KFC, people like Big Cat in Chicago and New York. And then he has new markets, right? And it's kind of what I was hoping to do with Turtle Boy before we lost fucking Facebook and Google AdSense, all that shit. I was built, it was just, I was Worcester at first. And I'm like, we need North Shore, we need South Shore, we need fucking Rhode Island, we need all that shit. We need Western Mass. We need to like bring people on. And it did for a while. And I think if we hadn't lost Facebook, I think we could have fucking Turtle Boy New York, Turtle Boy fucking Texas, who knows? And that's kind of what I modeled my thing after. I'm like, they did not back down. He did a blog in 2011 in which he put a picture of Tom Brady's kid's dick on there. After Giselle let the kid go to a fucking nude beach and kids walking around, and he puts it on. And he's like, holy shit, this kid's got a huge howitzer, right? And he got visited by the state police for that, for like kiddie porn. It's very controversial. And what I respect about him is he did not back down. And to this day, he's like, that was fucking funny. And I agree. It is funny. It was a big dick for a little kid. That kid had a big dick. And it's not like he was saying it in a sexual way. He just had a big fucking dick. And it's funny because it's Tom Brady's kid. So it's so fitting for Tom Brady's kid to have a big howitzer. It's just an observation. It's just funny. It's just comedy. That's what comedy should be about. You should be allowed to say controversial shit, to push boundaries. That's literally the whole point of comedy. And he was the expert at that. He did that better than anyone. He had these blackout parties where people just got, wasted, drunk, shit you weren't supposed to do. And feminists would show up and they would yell rape culture and blah, blah, blah. And it meant nothing to him. It just meant nothing. He just kept hustling, and it just made him more popular. And I fucking respected the shit out of that. I respected the shit out of it. And he got rich. And I love it when people some people don't like rich people. I like rich people a lot because I want to know what they did to become rich. And I want to emulate that. I think that's the beauty of this country. A lot of people, I don't like white people don't like the rich. I love the rich. I want to be friends. I wish I knew more rich people. Not just because I want their money. I want to learn how they made their money. And I want to start doing that. Because, I don't know if you guys ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But in this country, there are certain things that rich people teach their children that, middle class and working class people do not. And it's nothing wrong with that. But that is why cycles of middle class continue, is because my dad never taught me, and I love my dad. I wouldn't trade him for the world. Great, best dad ever. But, we were middle class. We were working class, I'd never learned how to invest, what to invest in or, this and that. Whereas wealthy people just think differently. It is a mentality. So I want to know more about them. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, I would like to make money with this. I'd like to get by. I'm getting by. And, you know, we're still here. But who doesn't want to be rich? You know, who doesn't want to be? So I want to learn more about that. Anyway, he got rich. And in 2016, he sold his company, the Churn Investment Group. And he's really brought in more and more people now. He doesn't blog at all, really, at all. He's just kind of the face of the franchise now, and he's still entertaining as hell. But he's brought in all these people, these younger people, 25-year-olds, and they will not shut the fuck up about. They have been exposed by this whole bullshit. They have been exposed. And one of the guys was named a couple of these people. Did you guys listen to this fucking podcast? Oh my God. Can we just listen to this for a moment? Let me pull this up here. So it started when two people, Ellie Schnitt or whatever her name is, and Maria, they call it Barstool Maria. They donated $50. They put it out there. We've donated $50 to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, which is the bail fund for Antifa and other people who have destroyed businesses, many of which are owned by black people. And it's just stupid, naive, idiotic chick who just feels good about herself doing this. That's all this is about, feeling good about yourself. Keep this going. And this one says matched, blah, 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 blah. And let me show you their podcast from last night, because they put all these other freaking links in there. Let me see, do I have the link to it? All right, let me play this. A much needed conversation. Let's just listen to a couple minutes of this.
Macy's is getting involved. Breathe. He's struggling. These humans, these police officers, are absolutely disgusting.
Absolutely.
The video that everyone has seen now of George Floyd being murdered with this man kneeling on his neck while he is saying out loud, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. There's people filming,
oh my God,
saying, please stop. He can't breathe. He's struggling. And this guy, this disgusting human being, you see the look on his face and you can tell he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. And it's
like, totally doesn't
truthfully sickening. Fran, I'm like, sure you feel the same way when you saw that video. You don't even know how to process it. You think to yourself, this is really how some people think in this world.
Yeah, he's a murderer.
And it's
disgusting.
That's why.
Yeah.
And
a lot of murderers.
To give backstory as to why they were trying to arrest him in the first place was because he allegedly was using a fake $20 bill. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Forgery?
Is that a crime?
It's the videos of them kneeling on him and then seeing other angles of 4 police officers kneeling on him, pinning him to the ground.
Oh my God.
Why do you need 4 police officers to pin somebody to the ground
3,
who's
but
not resisting arrest,
yeah,
let alone 1? He wasn't doing any.
And it's just, it's horrible. It's
horrible.
Absolutely inhumane.
Oh my God.
Horrible. You see this video and you think,
God.
Even when
like,
these officers knew that they were on camera,
I'm like against it.
Knew that this
totally
was obviously going to be posted places, and still did not care.
Yeah,
is insane because, of course, they are horrible people.
Yeah,
it's like the way they act was terrible.
I'm like totally against racism.
That there is just a blatant disregard for how this would come off just shows where we are.
Yeah, like we need that systemic
this
change.
This has now happened
like
so many times.
So like 9 times last year. So many times.
Justice has not been served.
Yeah, except he was arrested. But besides that,
it does not.
Never.
It did not matter.
No.
Right.
No.
It's happened so many times.
So many times.
This is not usually what we talk about, but
we're usually talking about The
Bachelor. Going on in the world. This is we pay attention.
Yeah.
We read. We see what's going on.
Learned, guys. We read the Huffington Post.
It's impossible not to discuss it. It's impossible to not have this conversation now. I know everyone's seeing on social media a lot right now the phrase "silence is betrayal."
Yeah.
And Rhea and I just had this discussion.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We thought that this was extremely true. How could we live with ourselves?
Yeah, like I can't even sleep.
Knowing that we have a platform to discuss these things and not do it.
Yeah,
so
and raise money for terrorists.
This happened. We see this happen. It's absolutely insanity.
Yeah,
obviously,
so bad.
Police officer Chauvin has dictate how these protests go forward.
Oh, okay. Right. So this is the best part.
Point where
we've reached the point,
especially as white people.
Yeah, as white people,
we do not have the right to dictate how these protests go forward.
As white people, we do not have the right to dictate how these protests go forward. So we do not have the right, as a white person, if you're watching, this has become commonplace to say, that if you're watching these riots happen on your television, you don't have a right to say, don't loot, that's bad. No, because you're white. Why? This is a sports and entertainment blog. And this chick, why is she saying this? Because she's been brainwashed to say it. It's a cult. It is a fucking cult, guys. This is cult behavior. Period. So, the Barstool, anyway, so I kind of put this out there and I criticize him for it. And Portnoy's all mad. So I find out that he reads, I always wondered if Dave Portnoy read Turtle Boy. Now I know that he does. Because he got all fired up and he talked about me in the rundown at around the 10:30 mark here.
I totally agree with all of it. And obviously it's the Black Lives basically target. So it's crazy. The whole thing's fucking crazy. And the other distinction, I'm going to go, I said on Minahan's show a little bit later, this guy Turtle Boy, who's been around forever. Did a pretty big misquote of us, saying like I spiked Minahan blogs and Blind Mike blogs, and I did like Ellie, who didn't even do it. And I disagree with Ellie, by the way. I don't think there should be like
she's on my team
raising money for people who are looting businesses.
There's Turtle Boy right on Barstool. Okay, excellent.
Now, if people are getting like arrested peacefully, different. I don't know how that goes, so I shouldn't say disagree. If what Kurt said is true, I disagree. I don't know that that's true, but Barstool has to talk about this. I don't like when we're the only ones necessarily talking about issues, but
so yeah, basically his beef is not. He actually agrees with me that raising money for terrorists is bad. His issue, as we're going to see when he calls up Kirkia, is that they did in fact spike Kirk Minahan, Steve Robinson, and Blind Mike's columns, right? They interviewed Donald Trump Jr. and they wouldn't put it on the blog. They wouldn't put it on the blog because Donald Trump Jr. is a conservative. Somebody else interviewed Andrew Yang, but he's a Democrat. They did put that on. They did put him on. They spiked the story about Trenny Kuznick, okay? When Trenny accused the West Point cadets of being white nationalists for playing a circle game. Remember that? Yeah. They spiked the story. They've spiked a few of their stories because they don't want, they're too afraid to put a right-wing spin on anything because that's dangerous. It's dangerous to put a right-wing spin on anything. Left-wing spin is encouraged. That's why all of these companies now are out there being like, oh, look at me, Black Lives Matter. Like it's become so commonplace. So let's listen to what Portnoy says about me when he calls up.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see his. Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, so we're doing it live. We're live to tape, but we're also on our YouTube channel right now as well.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm legitimately, as always, when we have these things, confused. Like when we were texting earlier, I was like, I don't know. Explain to me what the issue is. I watched some of the rundown. So I think I have some idea.
So I listened. It started before the rundown, but I listened.
No, I know.
I'm with Paul. So he played me a clip.
Okay.
And you repeated like tweet that I knew about before you mentioned it from this Turtle Boy guy who I've known about forever. He's a fucking clown, but whatever.
I like him. Yeah.
Thanks, Kirk.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna twist words, but anyways, he basically tweeted. Oh, he's one of these like I wish Barstool was back when days, right?
He calls you guys like Huffstool and all that. Us.
Right. I mean, he started early. I'm worth $100 million, and he does it for free. So he has some built up animosity for sure.
True, but okay.
I mean, I'll admit that I do.
You doubt that's true?
I don't know if he does it for. I think he gets paid for his advertising.
I do, in fact.
I understand your larger point.
Banner ads don't count.
Okay, let's not get lost in the weeds.
I'm going. Here's the point. He said, all Barstool's changed, blah blah. How can I spike a Blind Mike article and like a Kirk article and then allow an Ellie Schmidt like article, right? Something to that effect.
Right, but hold on. But what you said to me was I retweeted. So I never said that I never said ever, not once, that what Ellie did was on Barstool's blogs, or she said.
So anyway, they go on and on. They talk about Turtle Boy for a while. So basically, his whole thing is that he's calling me a liar. Portnoy's calling me a liar because I accurately pointed out that these guys had columns spiked for having a right wing spin to them, and that yet these women, these left wing morons, are allowed to use their Barstool platforms to put out and raise money for terrorist groups. And he said, no. Well, they didn't put it in a blog, so it doesn't count. I got newsflash for you. It fucking counts. Like, what is this world? Like, the guy that runs my Twitter account, right? If he tweets something fucked up, like about the brand, like that fucking matters, right? Like, it matters what you say on your company approved social media accounts. That matters. It doesn't actually have to be on your blog to do that. Secondly, they did it on a fucking podcast. They literally raised money for terrorist groups on a podcast, and they are terrorist groups now. The president's fucking, determining that they are. Antifa is officially going to be a terrorist group in the United States. So you're raising money for them. So this is semantics. This is all ridiculous. They did raise money for it. Who cares if it's on the blog? Nobody actually reads Barstool blogs anymore. Everybody listens to the podcast. Everybody goes into social media. When you have 250,000 followers on social media and you would not have more than 50 followers, were you not a Barstool employee? Right? It's like with Bristol. It's the same thing. Bristol was talking to herself when she was making those fucking fucked up videos in 2012. Nobody watched them. She was literally talking to herself. Then she saw me. I had the platform. So she came to me. I gave her the microphone, essentially. That's what when you work for me, I'm giving you a place to amplify your voice. And that's ultimately what these chicks did. And they've built their own little brand within the brand. But it is the brand of Barstool Sports. You still work for him, right? And when you speak on your blue checkmark Barstool account, you are speaking for the company. I'm sorry. You always are on the clock. That's one thing I learned with teaching. It's not fair, but you're always on the clock, period. So that's that. I got to be honest. I'm a little bit flattered. I'd be lying if I wasn't a little flattered. I mean, Dave Portnoy, I find out he's been reading Turtle Boy for a long time. We're killing it, guys. Turtle Boy's going on the top. The mere fact that they now have to address Turtle Boy, that it's such a problem that Dave Portnoy was like, I was a pain in his ass for 24 hours. We're going places. Like, I'm going to be back on Jerry Callahan podcast tomorrow, twice in a week, right? Clearly, I'm taking over. I'm going to be the everyday guy there soon, right? I'm buddies with Kirk and Steve. Like, this is going places. I don't like you. People can doubt me, whatever. I've never doubted myself, and and it's been 6-7 years in the making, but I don't give up. I don't give up. And I know that this is going somewhere. Trust me. Turtle Boy. And I think deep down inside, Dave Portnoy knows that Turtle Boy is a funner website than his is now. His website isn't fun anymore. When your website gets consumed with social justice twats and these people that are like, that's not a fun podcast, what we just listened to. It's fun to laugh at, but it's not entertaining. It's not interesting. Turtle Boy is a much more interactive, interesting, cool fucking audience. It's smaller than Barstool. We make less money than Barstool, but we have more potential. We do. And that's just a fact. And Dave knows that. He knows talent when he sees it, right? There's a reason that I caught his attention, isn't there? And now I would never work for him because I'm not going to work for anybody. I'm always going to be my own boss. I wouldn't take a job if it was offered to me. I don't work for other people. I'll never work for another person for the rest of my life. It's very liberating. But trust me, this is going places, guys. And you guys are on board. You guys are like my OGs, my Turtle Riders, and none of this would be possible, by the way, without you. Yeah, I mean, like M. John said, Portnoy should hire you, and he knows that. I have no doubt in my mind. If he could, he would. I wouldn't do it, though. I would not do it because I like what I do now. I like Turtle Boy. I love Turtle Boy. I wouldn't give it up for the world, period. I wouldn't sell it. I believe in it. Wouldn't sell it now because it wouldn't sell for very much. But yeah, trust me, this is going places. Real quick updates. 7 Pounder says real journalists are few and far between. I am fucking proud to support this bastion of independent journalism. Here's $10 finger point. Thank you, 7 Pounder. And Marcy McDowell says, because I'm sad about what's going on in America, but kind of glad I live in Australia. I don't know if is it that much better there? I don't know. Down under? I'll never forget you guys. You guys are my people, you know? So anyway, I don't know if you guys saw last real topic. It's a long fucking show tonight, huh? For a Tuesday, but good content. So in fucking last night in Providence in Worcester, shit blew up. And in Worcester in particular, right? Well, actually, let me start with the Providence video. You got to see this video. Where'd it go? Guess who appeared in Providence? Tell me if you recognize any name, any sounds.
You know what? That's what you got. It ain't about war rap. It's about this right here, right now. Come on, man. Let's go.
It's War Rock. There he is. That's the armpit guy. It's the armpit guy. There's War Rock. So this is the beginning, right? But things fucking blew up in Providence. Providence was trending on Twitter this morning. It was trending on Twitter. Real quick, let me read it. Yeah. So check this out. Watch what happens later on.
He wants justice.
Fuck that mean? They're just yelling at cops, Providence cops. Just demeaning them, yelling at them. Yeah, these people really care, by the way.
React like this. You know what you gotta do?
Look at this. Okay, watch this. See, look at this chick. Now is when it gets entertaining. Look at this. So she has jumped on the police car. Why is this allowed? Why is this happening in this country right now? Where mobs, what happened to fucking coronavirus? I mean, seriously. If we had done this fucking 2 weeks ago, we'd all be in jail just by being there. But this hood rat can come and stand on the hood of a car. Let's watch what happens here. Look at him. Look at this. Why? The cops are right fucking there. She's just destroying shit because she can, because she knows they're not going to fight back. One cop goes after her. She gets away. And then it descends into chaos. Shortly after that, the car is tagged up with all cops are bad. And they light it on fire. They smash all the windows. I don't even recognize the country I live in anymore, guys. This is fucking pathetic. The police are doing what they're told. I'm sure this is sad for them to watch there too. What is wrong with our leaders that they're allowing this? This is what Tucker ranted about for 30 minutes last night. It was fucking beautiful. Go watch it. What kind of lawless society is this where we just allow this to happen? Because a fucking guy died that nobody knows, and we're just giving people the freedom to just literally destroy our cities. Literally destroy them. Why? Why? We're afraid to arrest them? Why? And these other videos, you've seen the videos of cops getting attacked. They have guns, don't shoot them. Shoot them. I'm sorry. You know what would end these fucking protests right away? Kent State. Kent State fucking will fix everything. 50 years ago. But unlike the people at Kent State who were mostly innocent, there's kids going to class shot by guardsmen. These aren't innocent people. These are terrorists. Shoot them. Fucking shoot them. Why aren't we shooting them? Why are we allowing them to destroy our fucking cities? This is not how this is not how a society functions. This is how a society ends. End it. End the fucking bullshit. Warrack doesn't get to run the country because they're fucking pretending to be upset about a guy who died 1,500 miles from here. It's not how it works. And I'll tell you one thing. We don't have this problem in Holden. And if you're in a town too, you probably don't have this problem either. And this is why people move to the suburbs. And this is why, you know who's benefiting the most from this? Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Because every single city and every fucking place where these lawless societies are happening are controlled by Democrats. There isn't a single major American city that's run by Republicans. Not one. And Democrats are upset. Well, just give them space to burn. They're upset. They just need to get out of their system, blah, blah. That is a minority opinion, believe it or not. Polls are showing that 80% of Americans favor military intervention to shut these down. 80%. It is popular to get the military involved now. Popular. People don't like this. Normal people look at this and like, this is fucking third world country shit. This is insane. And finally, I think Donald Trump understood that, and he's sending in the National Guard to these places. I think you just wanted to let it burn for a little bit. Like, let the people see what happens when Democrats run your fucking city. It blows up. That's what happens. It blows up. This cop who killed the guy in Minneapolis, who's the mayor of Minneapolis? A radical leftist. Why did this cop have a job then if this radical leftist was in charge? Why? If they're a progressive, why did this fucking cop who had all these issues on his record, why do you have a job still? I really think Trump he did nothing at first because he wanted to let them see what it looked like. And now we know. And most people in the suburbs are like, fuck no, not coming here. People in the suburbs have guns. This doesn't happen in the suburbs. We wouldn't stand for it. It wouldn't fucking happen. Let the cities burn. That's what Democrats look like. They control the cities. It burns. Suburbs are fine. We don't have these problems here. And they're Republican. And that's the way it's going to be. So that's why Trump, this is actually going, I thought it was going to hurt Trump at first. But the more I think about it, this is going to help him very much so. Last thing, real quick to talk about. The situation that happened in Worcester, my hometown here. Let me bring this up. So who remembers Mosaic Cultural Complex? My first grifting organization that I took down 4 or 5 years ago. Nonprofit out of Worcester that was literally taking government grants, paying all their friends to do no fucking work, and holding marches calling the cops in Worcester racist. And I investigated the fuck out of them. So yesterday, there was a big protest in Worcester. Thousands and thousands of people. This happens. Watch this speech.
Turner, Marshall P. Johnson, Nanny and the Maroons, I encourage you to do the same. I evoke the energy of Black Legacy Worcester, the Mosaic Multicultural Complex.
Mosaic Multicultural Complex. She actually said that. She's like, that Mosaic Cultural Complex, for those of you unfamiliar, it was run by a black woman named Brenda Jenkins, who is literally a grifter. That's all she is. And her grift is, saying the right buzzwords and collecting government grants. These people make a living out of this. She did nothing for the black community, nothing. The NAACP didn't even support her because they know a grifter when they see one. And so no black person should be supporting this grifting movement unless you are a grifter yourself. And it just became the only thing they could say to Turtle Boy was, you're racist because you're going after Mosaic. Am I? Exposing fraud and corruption is racist? Okay, gotcha. Good to know. But she actually brings this up and people clap.
Prospect House. And if you don't know those are.
And you know why people are clapping, guys? It's because she's black. That's why people are clapping. Because people are, especially the white folks in the crowd, they feel like this pressure, like a black person is speaking. I better clap. If I don't clap, people are going to look at me weird. They're going to think I'm racist.
Organizations, you need to do your local black history and see what this city hall did to those organizations.
What this city hall did to those organizations. Talking about me.
I'm not attached to politics in any way. I'm about truth telling and black people.
No, you're a liberal, but I'm about truth telling and black people.
Chattel slavery dehumanized Black people. It made Black people no different from a chair or a cow, and it exists today.
It exists today?
There's no nice way to ask for humanity.
What does this mean?
And while I appreciate the peaceful protests, know that there is more than just that way to do this.
Oh, listen to this. There's more than one peaceful.
Know that Black people have a right to express their anger for what's been going on in this country for centuries in whatever way they choose. And if you're not Black, you don't have any right to tell somebody they're doing it wrong or right.
You hear what she just said? Again, let me play that one more time about how people protest.
Do this.
You don't
Know
have
that Black people have a right to express their anger for what's been going on in this country for
Black people have a right to express their anger for historical injustices. She goes on.
centuries in whatever way they choose. And if you're not Black, you don't have any right to tell somebody they're doing it wrong or right.
In whatever way they choose, and if you're not Black, you can't. In other words, if you see Black people looting on TV or anybody looting on TV, you have no right to tell them maybe you shouldn't destroy that person's restaurant. Because you know why? They're angry. They're angry about historical injustices. So you got to let them have their hissy fit because they're angry. The thing is, they're not angry. They're not. They're just opportunistic. And whatever anger they have isn't about race. They're not angered about racism. They might believe that their plot in life is because of racism, but it's not. They're just taught to be victims. And here's my problem with this. She literally, with that statement right there, she basically encouraged, right, looting and rioting, justified it. Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Let me show you this. In Worcester last night. Let's see what happens. That come up? Let's check out what happened in Worcester last night.
Turned violent and chaotic. In fact, this sporting goods store had some trouble. Late last night, tensions escalating in Worcester as protesters clash with police, with officers firing flashbangs into the crowd. Those demonstrators throwing objects at police. A cruiser's back window smashed. As the crowd broke apart, a sporting goods store was looted. The front door glass shattered.
You can't blame like the
This is the owner.
actions of a few to the many. Like a lot of people assembled and it was really great. And then you just have like a few that just don't know how to channel the aggression.
This Taylor was also damaged.
No, I was freaked out. I almost have a heart attack.
Taylor.
You know, this is
Because
what did they get?
Immigrants.
That's not fair. You know, we all with the Black people, we all support each other. We love this country. They shouldn't do this to us.
So, 2 businesses in Worcester were looted last night too. Both of them were owned by minorities because a woman got up there and told the crowd that it's okay to do this. It is okay to do this. That woman should be charged with inciting a riot. People say that Turtle Boy incites riot. She literally told them that if you feel like looting and you feel like rioting, you go right ahead and do that. And ain't no white person have any right to tell you not to do that. Destroy that person's fucking business. You're angry. Get it out of your system. Slavery existed 150 years ago. Jim Crow, a guy in Minnesota is dead. You have a right to be angry because you're a fucking victim. And when you're a victim, you get free shoes. That's literally what she told the fucking crowd. And the trained white cult members, this is a fucking cult, Black Lives Matter, stood there and clapped like trained seals. And guess what, you fucking frauds? Now that fucking poor Muslim dude, immigrant, lost his fucking business because of you, because you're a fucking selfish cunt. Fuck off. I hate them so much. I fucking hate these people. People are like, we should have unity. I don't want to have unity with these fucking people. I fucking hate them. If we could have a different country for them, I'd like to have a civil war. I wouldn't mind a civil war. I don't know how it would divide up geographically. I don't want to get along with these people. That's why I puke when I see these fucking cops kneeling and getting along. I don't want to get along with them. These people are fucking douchebags. Their intentions are not good. I don't want to get along with them. I don't want to pretend like I have something in common with douchebags. I don't. I expose douchebags. So fuck them. Anyway, there's a long fucking show. Why don't I take any questions you guys have now? Any questions that we have? Brockton is about to get jiggy. I can imagine what's happening in Brockton right now. It's gonna be, let me guess, same shit. Shocking, huh? Shocking. And that's why I said in the blog, people were mad about that. I'm like, even if you're protesting, you're kind of a douchebag too. I'm sorry. I don't make a distinction. I don't. If you show up, it's going to be a riot. There will be a riot in Brockton tonight. Shit will get broken. Somebody's business is getting destroyed tonight. Yeah. And so if you participate in that, in my opinion, you're just as guilty. Because what else? What other reason is there to go? What are you doing? What are you protesting? The guy's been arrested. So what do you want? Blippy Marie says, money for glasses that you never use. Thank you. Well, I have glasses, Blippy, and I wear glasses all the time. Are you talking about the picture today with Portnoy? Well, I've worn glasses during a live show before, but because I used the camera on the computer, you see the reflection of the computer on my glasses, and it's extremely distracting. I've done a couple live shows with that. But thank you, Blippy Marie. I appreciate that. Did the gift come today, by the way? I didn't get a gift. Thought I was getting a thing. All right. Any questions you guys have? I'll read any questions you guys have. I'll read them now. So happy Luke didn't win. Absolutely. That is definitely a good thing. I have resting Boston face. It's not your fault. That's good. Resting Boston face. That's a good one right there. Read my Facebook messages about the gift. Who sent me a message? Blippy Marie did? I have 5,000 messages like every fucking day. It took me 3 hours to go through my goddamn. I need a secretary, guys. To go through my inbox every day, it's fucking so time consuming. It's like ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't even know which message to look for, Blippy Marie. From who? I see 5,000 messages here. You sent me a message. I'll have to find you then. I have to dig through here and find you. Let's see what she sent. It's a picture of, it is a big, is it just like a wood paneling? It's like is that to replace this? I like the banner. That's a nice piece of wood there. Let me see if I can load this up. What do you guys think of this?
They did it.
Oh, there's the people looting.
They did it. Look, they're doing it. They broke it to Evelyn's.
Yeah. Where'd it go? Where's Randy at? Let's see. Where'd she go? Weren't you right here a minute ago? Where the hell did you go? There you are. Okay, there it is. There she blows. So is that what it? All right. Did you see Dallas Walenti was stoked to become TV famous? It was happy to use a good picture of her. I did not see that. It's always funny. It's always a lot easier when they like being on Turtle Boy. I gotta be honest. Kate's at the Brockton protest. Hopefully she gets pelted by rubber bullets. Is she really? Is she really at the Brockton protest right now? Oh God. She's so pathetic. Protesters and riots are not one and the same. It's protected free speech, just like it wouldn't be your fault. So I would normally agree with that. However, when you know it's a guarantee, and like, what are you here's another thing. What are you even protesting? That's like that. Like, okay, you can protest whatever you want, but what are you protesting for? You don't even have a cause, really. What do you want? All you're doing is, there's 100% chance there will be fucking riots. 100%. So if you show up to that, then you're participating in something that is guaranteed to be a riot. Like, the speakers are up there telling you it's okay to riot. If you don't leave at that point, you're just as guilty as everyone else, in my opinion. Someone threatened me in the chance tonight. Check my email. Should I check it now? Have you talked to Kate since lockdown? No, I've not talked to Kate at all. What about the Karen at the Dunkies drive-through? Taking out of the kid. Yeah, that was a tough one. We're going to watch that on the live show this weekend. Protester interviewed saying this will end when the cops take a knee. What did I tell you guys about that? That's how fucking stupid these people are. Like, all it takes is the cops taking a knee and you'll just stop. Okay, sure thing. Fucking morons. Don't you think the other cops should at least get manslaughter? I don't know. I'm not a prosecutor. What do I know about that? I'm not fit to have an opinion about that. What do I know? Did they fit the feel like if they were guilty of manslaughter, if they had done things that resulted in manslaughter, they'd be arrested by now and charged with manslaughter. But they haven't been. So that has to be for a reason, right? I'm going to be honest. I don't see why. I mean, is there a good Samaritan law? Because that's ultimately what it came down to. The Asian guy, he should have intervened on a moral reason only. He should have intervened, right? But he never actually like held the guy down or did anything like that. He didn't stop people from trying to help them. So what are you going to charge him with? You know what I mean? The other two guys were holding down, like were securing his legs and his arms, I assume because they were trying to restrain him, which is what cops do. It's really just the one guy that fucking choked him. Like that's how lions kill wildebeest. Like they fucking hold you down and then one of them fucking bites your neck until you die. That's what they do. So I should go to the blocked comments. We don't negotiate with terrorists. It's not even negotiating. It's just humoring terrorists, you know, just humoring them. Okay, these simple-minded buffoons. UT, this was a threat made to you by this person. Let me see here. So Oliver Dotson says, I have your address. Have fun figuring out which one of your next Amazon package is a mail bomb. Oh, okay. So there we go. That's my life, guys. That's my life right there. Oliver Dotson, mail bomb. So if I blow up, there you go. That's the guy who did it. I'd almost rather not take down messages like that. So mods, don't take down messages like that. Keep them up, please. What's your favorite protest song? I don't know. I don't really like the protest songs. They're boring. Do you think Portnoy would come on the show Saturday? Let's try to get him on. See what he says. He might. Cops in Boston took a knee a while ago. Yeah, like I said. Thoughts on J.R. Smith attacking the rioter? That was pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. I like that a lot. I'm pro J. I don't really like J.R. Smith. I never liked his game, but I respected that. How do you feel about qualified immunity? I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I mean, the kneeling and the sauce, especially with the way that guy knelt, like he could have, if he had put his hand on the hood of the car, then you could have like taken half of your weight off of the guy. You know what I mean? But it seemed like he was intentionally putting his arm there in like looking down and fucking driving his knee in. Like he knew what he was doing. I don't know what is like, that's going to be an interesting case. Like, did he fucking like intentionally kill him or was he just being a dick and it went too far? I don't know what qualified immunity is, so I'd have to know about it. You take an oath to do the right thing. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so you take an oath, but is that oath legally whatever? Like, can you be charged with a crime if you violate the oath? You can be fired, obviously, as we saw. Okay, thank you very much, Mega Motors, for not taking that down. Okay, so I don't mind. The only thing that I want taken down is like when they put names of other bloggers, if they start doing that shit, I don't like that. because they don't deserve to get dragged into this, or if they put my address. That's it. If they're just like, I'm going to put a mail bomb in you, that's just leave that up. That's fine. All right. Anything else before we call it a night? The guy wasn't even resisting at all. Yeah, that was rough. The cop had 17 complaints against him. I mean, that's like something you can, like, that is a realistic reform that you can have. Just like a new law. Like, I understand the unions make it harder to fire people, but you can just say, well, if you have 5 complaints on you, you got to work desk duty for the rest of your career. You know what I mean? To give them you can't be on the road ever again, period. Well, you can't hurt anybody, you know? I feel like that's a reform. Like, see, I'm already out thinking them. I have fucking like ideas. They have nothing. They just have like cardboard signs and Black Lives Matter and bullshit. Like, there's probably practical solutions that could deter this from happening in the future, but they don't have any. You know, that's the problem with them. Unc, when's the Turtle Boy barbecue? I don't know. We should have one, though. Anything else before we call it a night, guys? Okay, we're ranting about unions now. Okay. Not going there. And the beauty of this cop is that literally nobody's defending him. It's the first time I've ever seen this where nobody's defending the cop. None. Yeah, get out there and, well, you don't want these people voting. That's the thing. That's how Ilhan Omar becomes the thing. I don't know if we want to encourage that. Have you ever heard from Kate Peters since court? No. She's been, I feel like I crushed her soul a little bit. Like, does she even do a show anymore? I don't even know. Like, she has her team of freaks there, and it's not even fun making fun of her anymore. It's just the same boring shit. You know, I've successfully crushed her spirits. So you're saying you want a trained lab bomb dog, really? Yeah. No thanks. All right. So if we don't have any more questions, guys, I guess we'll call it an evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody who donated. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to go watching these Brockton protests. Wasn't there supposed to be one in Boston tonight? Did anything happen with that? Thank you, M-Job, by the way. He says, I live in Medford. I'll be letting everyone know that Hair Passion Salon is run by a person who eats. Thank you. Fuck that cunt. I'm going to talk about her on the live show this weekend. I got Western Mass Turtle Girl back on, and she wants to rant about some shit. So we're going to have her back on on Saturday. All right. So anyway, guys, I'll talk to you guys on Thursday night. Keep up the good work. Don't loot, don't riot, don't protest, and don't get commie cold. Peace, Turtle Riders.